what would you advise anyone doing a faith or inspiring based content? So, faith based content, inspiration based content that is yet to generate more views as it should be and go viral so one could make money on it. So, how do we make money on inspiration content, on faith based content? How can we get more viral? How can we go viral and make more money?
So I don't know if I've ever really, I don't want to say I don't know if I've ever really pushed to be viral. I just know that, let me answer it this way. I think that excellence is a great equalizer. And I'll give you an example of two different people. One person is a Christian who wants to be an actor. And these are, of course, there are exceptions. But two average people. One of them is a Christian who wants to be an actor. And the other one is a non-Christian who wants to be an actor. For one person, God has told him or her that they would grace screens and act in faith-based films. And for the other person, they just want to find a way to blow because they know they have something to offer. The faith-based person who wants to be an actor is DMing all the faith-based filmmakers they know. I can act, give me a chance. God told me I will act with you. God told me I will work with you. The non-faith person is going to film school. The non-faith person has monologues on their page. The non-faith person is showing up to film festivals. I don't know if you can see the difference. The other person does not have any monologue on their page, has no business with going to film school because God has told them. So I think that one thing we must realize is that excellence is a great equalizer. I stopped believing that people didn't want to support me simply because I was faith-based. Instead, I believe that if I do excellent work, people would show up because there are many people who are actually looking for faith-based content. So it comes down to ensuring that the quality of your work is good. There is an anyhowness that sometimes, and I'm careful not to be generalistic, sometimes Christians used to do things where they just say, God told me. I said, let me just do it because I just want to obey God. God told me, let me quickly do it. But I think that the fact that God told you to do something means you must even be more excellent about it because you're submitting your homework to an excellent God. So when I say excellence is a great equalizer, I mean that if you harness your skill properly and you do great work, eventually people will show up. I don't know, virality is, there are so many elements that combine to make something viral. There is time and chance. There is, but I know that many people who've had viral work have become overnight successes many years in the making. So when when the filmmaker who, for example, did Monica had 6 million views in one day or something like that, that was not her first film, and I don't think it was her 10th film. She's been an actor for a while. She's been a producer for a while, and an actor for an even longer while. When Pucci Franklin became viral from Kill a Monkey, I'd seen him in other films many years before. That was his 10th year in the industry. That was his 10th year. And it just so there is I think consistently doing good work. There's a brand I'm likely to work with soon. And I remember pitching to the same brand in 2020 or 2021. And I make faith-based stories. And I remember the brand telling the person who was my contact said, I want us to make a Christian film. Okay. Go and look for a Muslim film too that we can. That was how they disregarded us and we and we never got to work with them. Right. But the truth is, if you consistently do good work and people will want to support you when they've seen what you've done before, which sounds weird because how can I do something? How can I show you what I've done before if I need funds to do what I've done before? But you want to see It's like
That's a
asking
very
people
risky part.
to
How do you
be
now how do you put
yes.
that
So
together?
I
You
would
need funds to get
say
something done, and then you can say you go
yes.
and get acquired.
I would say that you start with what you have. You do the best with what you have. I made my first film, I think, for about 500 to 600K. My first short film, still on my YouTube channel, Love is a Star. We have a friend who runs a business. In fact, he still supported Onobere when it came out because his business is bigger. And my filmmaking is also bigger now. But at the time in 2020, when I wanted to make that film, I said, come, bro, please come and give me 250K. I want to make a film. And then, how are you going to make a film? I said, don't worry, me, I have 200K saved. And on that project, the person who was the cameraman was also the sound guy, who was also the editor, who was the colorist, who was also the light person. So, I mean, and then at the beginning of the film, I showed my friend's brand, Fruity Life, which is still one of the brands that still supported us with an opera after a couple of years. So, if you look around you, there are resources around you. There may not even be money. It may be, I think many times we are very interested in networking upward, somebody who has done the really big things. People just can just respond to me. But if you look around you, there's someone who can handle the camera, there's someone who can act. Um, there's like for that film, it was the entire film was taking place in okay, there was one exterior, two interiors or something like that. But the major thing was taking place in the hospital room. And I had reached out to my doctor and said, please come and give me where I'll use to shoot. I was like, okay, no problem, come at this time. But by the time we finished shooting the exterior scene, he said, I wanted to give you the recovery room, but there's a patient now. So I can't help you. I said, would I've rented equipment for the day. I begged him, I said, please, what can you give me to show that my parlor is a hospital? And so he had this thing they used to separate spaces for injection. He had one that was already bending. Then he had one drip stand. I carried it to my house, and of course, we couldn't get a hospital bed. So I had a work table, had a mattress. So I put the work table, and then I slanted the back of the mattress over the work table. So it looked like a hospital bed that was reclining, right? And that was how we shot that film. So it's really about starting with what you have. There's some for by God's grace, for me, stories have always been my strength. So even if you want to complain about location, complain about this, you can't complain that the story is not sweet. So it's because that's what I have in my hand. So it will now come down to, okay, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? You may not be a story person, but you are good with camera. I was speaking to someone who is now a documentary filmmaker doing pretty well for himself. I've worked in with and continues to work with top international organizations making documentaries for them. And he was talking about how he got strong in storytelling by every week in the year 2020 or 2021. Also preached the message. He would just call sermon notes. So he was saying he would use, see, and let me tell you, and everybody watching, people will invest in you to the level that they see you invest in yourself. Those times they will invest into the level that you will invest in yourself. I thought that they see you invest in yourself. If I come today and I say I have a film coming out on YouTube tomorrow, film, I don't think it's up to 1 million views. Because for my audience, I just started working on it. I mean, I've been working on it for the past 3 years. But I haven't said anything about it. I haven't communicated. I say, surprise! I have a film on YouTube tomorrow. Day to day will also what surprise me. And that's why a film like Michael that already had the potential to be big, they started advertising it from last year, right? So I think it was another that they will invest in you to the level to which they see you investing in yourself. So taking oneself seriously in a way that is obvious to people. There are some people that love me, but if I don't promote something well, they won't show up. It's not, they're not doing it to spite me. It's just the way life is. Time is limited for people, resources are limited for people. So they're only really going to show up for people that gone the extra mile. So it really is about going the extra mile. Um, I don't think I should tell you to put your whole life savings, especially if you're the breadwinner of your family. But if you do good work consistently, and you also learn to tell stories about your story, not you do the book, you hide it in your room. No one likes a counting and put it under your bookshelf. Or you do the film, put it on your YouTube channel. Ma, when I was marketing on Obiren, the same way I met you, that was how I saw people, mummies from my gym. There was a particular mommy, she came with her husband. Because when I get to the gym, I say, come and watch my film. Do you understand? I make films, so check my channel, offline, online. So it will be telling good stories, but consistently telling stories about your story because we are now in an age where you are not just the producer or just the director or just the author. You are the CEO of that book, the CEO of that film. And that thing must have a marketing department, must have an advertising department, even if you are the one who is in charge of it. You must, after writing your creative, after doing the creative work, now do creative work around around the creative work to promote the creative work. So I don't know if I can't say if you do this, and this, you'll go viral. But I can say that if you constantly do good work, you will find a way to make films profitably. But it does take a while. The industry we're working in. If you make a YouTube film, even with 1 million views, you might maybe make half of your money back. At least that's in my difference, especially if your viewers are from this side of the world, right? But if you've done 1 million views and you didn't make your money back, there are now brands you can speak to and say, I did 1 million views with this film. Imagine if I did 1 million views with this film and your brand is in it. So that covers for it. If you take a film to the cinemas, the amount of money that will come to you from the entire cinematic cut might be about 1/3, 1/4. One
So
fourth
I
of
didn't
it.
hear that,
So,
please. Can you say that again?
so if you take your film to the cinemas, your cut might come down to maybe 1/3 or 1/4. The cinemas definitely make more
Wow.
money than you. You pay taxes, you pay a distributor, you pay taxes are over 20% for cinema films. So I think it was what conference were we at where somebody asked Funke Akindele, how does it feel to be a billionaire filmmaker? She said, billionaire for where? The cinemas will take theirs, government will take theirs. So eventually the filmmaker is at the bottom of the barrel. But it's not even nobody should carry Minister blog and say she's complaining we're at the bottom of the barrel. It's just understanding the way systems and markets work and knowing that even though that might not be the most profitable in terms of money, there are other opportunities that this opens for you. So it comes down to knowing why you do what you're doing. That's so you must know, okay, why am I taking this film to this particular platform? And even if this film doesn't make XYZ, there are other opportunities after this initial opportunity for this film to do XYZ. Or what doors do I think this film will open? I would recommend to especially if you are the one bearing the risk of making the films, I definitely recommend to you to have other things that are bringing you money because filmmaking is like, if my mechanic puts it, that having a car is like having a second wife. They will just be collecting money. But at the end of the day, remember, when you're doing inspiring storytelling, faith-based storytelling, um, you can just have someone that'll just say, do you know what? I want to send this amount of money to you. I remember my friends when they made Prophet Suddenly, them saying, because there's no way with the scale of production they do for Prophet Suddenly Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, any of their films, the Windows, it is very easy to see that it's not YouTube that is paying them, it's God that's the one funding it. But I remember how, I think it was her or her husband saying, that's how someone just called us and gave us this amount. And I was like, I tap into this. I tap into. You won't believe that a few weeks later, somebody called me and gave me same amount to make films. But until you put yourself out there, it's unlikely that you're going to have people who would also be willing to put them.